This homeowner recently had kitchen cabinets installed, and in the process, we had to remove the countertops. They were laminate. Today, we're going to upgrade, put in a more durable surface that could withstand any kitchen task. Now, a lot of companies make countertops and countertop materials. Today, we're using Gibraltar brand. This looks like stone, feels like stone, but it's actually plastic, an acrylic polymer. As far as this installation is concerned, there's a lot of skill needed, so we have skill with us today. Some help, Jeff Lindeman, he's with Richardson Countertops.
Hey, Glenn.
Good to see you, Jeff. Thanks for joining us. Now, these are becoming so popular. I'm seeing them everywhere. Went house shopping last week. Every home I saw had this in the kitchen, at least this type of countertop.
Well, solid surface has been around for about 25 years, but only the last 10 or 15 years has the price come down and made it more affordable to more families.
Now, we call this a renewable surface because with average daily use, like let's say a scratch, and I'm going to make a pretty extreme with a utility knife,
okay,
you can get it out for the most part.
Yes, and that would be a fairly extreme scratch, Glenn, but with some fine grit sandpaper or sometimes even an abrasive pad, a homeowner can remove scratches and scuffs like that fairly easily.
We wipe that off and there you go. Looks like new. We're going to fabricate our bar top here in the garage. The majority of it has already been done at your shop.
Exactly.
Now everything comes in these half-inch pieces, but what we're going to have to do is turn this into a big thick edge like this, nice and rounded off. Jeff, how do we get started?
Glenn, when the material comes to the fabricator, it comes in a half-inch sheet form from which we have to cut all the parts and then glue them up, basically. And we're going to do that here if you'll give me a hand.
Okay.
What we have to work with, this is a special two-part color-matched epoxy which is manufactured specifically for this application. We're going to apply some right down the edge here on the bottom side of the countertop, and then you're going to put that one piece butting into my little stop blocks there.
Right, little wood blocks
there. And then we're going to stack another piece on top of that.
Okay.
And this will bring us up to our 1.5 inch thick edge. Once we get all this glue on here, we're going to clamp it in place, Glenn.
Now, aren't we going to see any seams once we do get this down?
No, you're going to find out that when this dries up and we machine it down to its final shape, the joints will virtually disappear.
Okay.
And it will look like one solid piece.
Well, let's wait for this to dry. It'll take, what, 20 minutes to a half hour?
About that, Glenn.
And let's put in the main part of the countertop now.
Let's go for it.
Before we install the countertops, we're actually going to build up the cabinets with this fiberboard. Fiberboard good for the kitchen because, well, it's water resistant. But I have to ask you, Jeff, why don't we just put the countertops right on top of the cabinets? Why do we have to do the buildup?
Glenn, we're working with 34.5 inch high modular cabinets here, and we want to bring the countertop up to a fairly standard 36 inch finished height.
Okay, we're going to bring it up to that finished height. We'll do some pre-drilling here. And we'll just screw them into place. This is the hard part, carrying the main countertop into the house. This thing is really heavy. Jeff, as far as the weight's concerned, we had to have Shane Shipley help us out, Andy Huggins as well. Why is it so heavy, and is that a factor in putting your countertop together?
It's a little tough on us right now, Glenn.
Right.
But assuming the cabinets were put in properly, and I'm sure they would, they'll have no problem supporting this weight.
Okay, let's put this in place. Now, it's one big piece. I don't see any seams. Is that just for convenience or to make it seamless?
Well, there is at least one seam in this top, Glenn, which I'll challenge you to find here in a minute. And when at all possible, we prefer to fabricate the tops in one piece if we can, because it just frankly makes the installation go quicker.
The sink itself is made of the same material as the countertop, but you wouldn't know by looking at it.
It is the same material. Now, this is a solid white color. Sinks are not available with the particulate like the countertops are, because during the pouring process, the particulate tends to settle towards the bottom of the sink, and that's visually not good.
And that's really neat. Look at that. I mean, there's no seam at all from the countertop to the sink.
The same epoxy compound was used to join this sink to the countertop as we used on the edges. It is now virtually one piece.
The countertop is a perfect fit, and that's no coincidence.
No, Glenn, we had a crew come out a couple weeks ago and make a template of this, assuring a perfect fit, and I believe we got one.
Now it's time to secure the countertop. Andy, Shane, if you guys could come on out here and help us lift this. First off, I do want to point out that we're not going to seal it or in any way attach it to the back wall, because let's say the homeowner wants to switch out countertops.
Yeah, years from now, if they want to change out tops or had some other reason, we don't want to attach back there, Glenn. It would make removal very difficult. And all we really need is a few dabs at the front here with silicone.
Get the guys to lift it up. A couple of dabs of the silicone every 6 inches.
We use silicone, Glenn, because it allows for some minor expansion and contraction of the material.
Once we get the sealant in place, we just set the countertop down, and it's secure. I'm going to put the corner part of the countertop in place now. Jeff, if you could help me here. Because of this appliance garage that we have already built into the cabinets, we have to slide this countertop piece in. And once we get this done, we'll go out to the garage and we'll finish that bar top. We're back in the garage now. Our bar top piece has been dried. We turned it over. We put a straight edge down. Now we're going to do some routing, Jeff.
Yes, sir. We're going to take about 1/8 of an inch off the edge of this countertop, leaving it nice and straight and smooth.
We'll also use the router to round things off coming up here.
Exactly.
Once the straight edge has been made, we'll go over that same area again with the router. This time we'll use a different bit to round off the edges. Now once that's done, we'll use the router to cut out some notches so the bar top can securely fit against the wall. And we're using the silicone there. It's a nice tight fit. Jeff, what was the cost on this installation?
This was a $2,700 job, Glenn, which works out to about $34 a square foot.
And that included labor as well.
Sure did.
Jeff, I want to thank you and the guys from Richardson Countertops for all your help.
Thanks, Glenn.
Good job. Now, if you're going to upgrade your countertops, why not upgrade your faucet as well? There's a lot of new technology out there. This one's from American Standard, and it's got a water filtration system. Now, these solid surface countertops are not the cheapest products on the market, but any scratches can be removed just by sanding. So for years to come, this countertop should stay looking great.